I'm going into this election with a very clear message. None of us can afford more austerity. Our NHS, our children, our economy can't afford the billions of pounds of additional cuts planned by Labour, the Liberals and the Tories. And none of us can afford the £100 billion they plan to spend on new nuclear weapons. Their priorities are wrong, and it will be ordinary people across the UK who pay the price, unless you choose differently. We have seen tonight that Labour alone will not be bold enough to deliver the real progressive change that people need. A big team of SNP MPs can force the pace of progressive change. We offer an alternative, real investment in the NHS and housing and childcare and jobs. To voters in Scotland, I ask you to vote SNP to make Scotland's voice heard, and to voters elsewhere, I pledge that ours will be a voice to deliver real change for you too.
Plaid Cymru does not accept that this is as good as it gets. At this election, we can change course. Tonight, we have heard the leader of the opposition refuse to reverse Tory spending cuts. Opposition that promises more of the same is no opposition at all. You have an alternative. In Wales, Plaid Cymru offers a vision to rebalance power and wealth throughout these islands, away from the powerful few. Now is exactly the time to invest in our people. Public services, a living wage, an NHS fit for the 21st century, all nations equal in terms of resources and self-government. If you like what Plaid Cymru has to say, then vote for us. Vote for Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales. Thank you. Diolch yn fawr.
Natalie Bennett.
We don't have to take any more of this. The Tories' heavy austerity has cut deep into the lives of those who can least afford it. Labour isn't challenging austerity, just offering a slightly lighter version of the same failed recipe. What does that leave? The Lib Dems. Many people voted Lib Dem in 2010 to keep the Tories out. They won't be doing that again. Tactical voting has given us the kind of politics that we have now. Instead, I urge you to vote for what you believe in, for our future and for future generations to come. If you agreed with me tonight, vote Green. Don't listen to the people who tell you that you'll have to settle for a pale imitation. If you want real change, you have to vote for it. It's time to vote for hope. It's time to be bold. Vote Green.
Ed Miliband.
You've heard tonight from 5 different parties, but there's one fundamental choice at this election. Do we carry on with a Conservative plan that says we should put the richest and most powerful first in our country? Or do we choose a different idea? I believe it's time to put working families first again in our country, putting your living standards first, having more doctors and nurses in our National Health Service, having a future for our young people, all underpinned by cutting the deficit every year and balancing the books. Now, David Cameron refused to come and debate tonight, but I've got a message for him. David, if you think this election is about leadership, then debate me one-on-one. I believe my ideas, my vision for the country, is better for the working families of Britain. If you disagree, then prove it. Debate me and let the people decide.
Nigel Farage.
I believe the gap between our career, professional, political classes and ordinary people has never been wider, and that's been exemplified this evening. They basically aren't very different at all, and they're not prepared to stand up and fight for ordinary folk in this country by confronting the tough issues. I am. I'm unafraid to say what I think, and whether you agree with everything I say or not, know that when I say it, I do so because I believe in it. I'm patriotic, I believe in this country, I believe in the people of this country, I believe we'd be so much better if we governed ourselves, controlled our borders and gave ordinary workers a chance against the takeover of the giant corporate companies who have now basically taken over our political parties. I'll fight for the little man, for the little woman. I'll fight for this country. This is the chance for the most radical political change we've seen for decades. Vote UKIP if you want things to change.